Hello, guys, and welcome back to the Figure Forecast podcast with your host, Scarlett, and my lovely co host, Maeve. Today, we are joined with Maddy. Maddy is a female prep coach, but she is also an ex wellness competitor and transitioning into the figure class. So, we obviously wanted to get her on and hear her story about where she started and the move to figure and all of that jazz. So I will pass you over to Maddy and she can take you through her story.
Thank you very much, Scarlett. Nice of you to ask me on, actually. I really, really appreciate it. So it's really, really nice to be here. So yeah, I am on the transition into do we call it the best category? Is that what we're going to say? The better category. The only category. I'm super excited. I do have a little bit of a cold at the moment. I think it's a whole prep come down thing, but so bear with me on the old grogginess. But I finished my season. I think I'm coming up to 3 weeks post show now, so I'm just on the reverse. And I spent my last show and one of the classes of the previous show jumping into figure because we've been toying with it for a while and think that it's probably where I sit best. So yeah, jumped in and I looked more like a figure athlete straight away than I do a wellness athlete, which kind of confirmed where I need to be, and gives me the opportunity to actually be a bodybuilder again, which I'm very excited about. So yeah, that's the transition, that's the plan. So I'm currently spending time eating again, training, and just trying to get massive, to be honest.
Which you already are.
What made you, number one, pick wellness, but number two, step away from it and go to figure?
Yeah, big questions. I think my way back when, my less educated bodybuilding brain when I was younger, I was like, yeah, I'm super leg dominant, and I was just a bit fat in legs when I was younger. I used to be a footballer, so I was like semi-pro. I played for a lot of countries around the UK, teams around the UK, and I think that then when I transitioned into bodybuilding, I was just very much I was always very heavy in the legs. I think just from football, big calves, big quads, but probably quite weak in the posterior. But I was like, yeah, my legs are the strongest thing. I should love to train them. And then I went into my first comp and actually got peeled and did bikini because I definitely wasn't anywhere near as big as you think you are, I think. And I think in hindsight, when we did that first show, I probably should have done wellness in that show. It was the British finals, the one at the back end of lockdown where no one did any regionals, if you remember it, in 2020. Yeah. And I was probably what the wellness criteria was back then. It was very different back then. It was a little bit more of a thicker set bikini girl, maybe carrying a little bit more body fat, not quite bikini, but bigger legs. And that's probably at that show where I sat. And I was definitely I wasn't right for bikini. I was still too big for bikini, probably too big in the legs, probably a little bit too developed in the back. So I just didn't really suit the category. I did well, looked great, did really well, got peeled, but just wasn't quite right. So then I was like, right, well, I'll transition to wellness. That's what I feel like I want to do. I love training legs. I love the look, the off-season look of it. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to transition to wellness. And then just pursue that for 18 months, nearly 2 years, until I went to step on stage. But I spent the first 6 months after that show just training still all around everything, because I still needed just more development everywhere. I think a lot of people try and silo too much into a category before they've even developed enough muscle everywhere. You still need, whether you do bikini, wellness, or figure, or whatever, you need a good balance everywhere still. These bikini girls have still got great lats, great delts, they've got great development everywhere. So you still need that. So spent the first sort of 6 to 8 months just training everything, a bit of a push-pull leg split, to be honest, just bringing up everything. And then did a bit of a mini cut after that, had my boobs done, and then after that just pushed into the wellness category. And then did my first season last year in wellness. And I was just too small, just a baby, far too stringy and little. Great look, my glutes looked amazing. They were just too small. I mean,
what show did you do? What show did you do?
Last year. No, I prepped for the beginning of the year and I did a few warm-ups in just little local, when I say local, UK UP and all that sort of stuff. And then I did the regional. I can't remember which regional I did, but it was quite early on. It was maybe May time. April, May, and then went on to do quite a few pro qualifiers. I did Finland, I did Poland, I did Alicante, I did another one. Did the British in the UK. Did 5, I think. Can't remember. Anyway,
That's a
yeah,
big
did 5.
season.
Yeah, they were quite close together. Like the first 3 were close together, and then I had a bit of a gap, and me and Corey went and got married, and I had like a 6-week, literally, I was peeled my wedding dress. So I had like 6 weeks off. I was still on prep, like a macro track the whole thing. We got married in cars, macro track the whole thing. Apart from my wedding day, I just sent it on my wedding day, just ate everything. And then got back from there. I was like, came back lighter. I dropped loads of fatigue. I looked fucking fresh, looked wicked. So we just went, there was like Finland and the British quite close to each other, close in like 3.5 weeks time. So we're like, we'll just run them, like, let's do that. So that's what we did. But it was quite close together, but my season was long. I started it pretty fat. I was like 74 kilos and I stood on stage at like 54. So I had 20 kilos to pull off. So I was prepping like 28 weeks. It was quite a long prep. And I'd had enough at the end of it. I mean, I can do anything. I can prep, I can off season. I just go with the flow. I don't really get attached to anything, but I would had enough. Do you know what I mean? So I come out of that and then just went into growing 5 days a week, training legs, to be honest, 4.5. And then here we are this year. And I was a much more complete wellness athlete this year. Like, I did look good. Probably feel like I should have won it in Norway, but didn't for whatever reason. And I put on like 6 kilos, 5-6 kilos of stage weight.
Nice.
In a year.
Class.
Yeah, like, and you can see it, like I was dense, like thick,
Yeah.
but just still, and this is where we were talking about this before we jumped on the call, weren't we, about genetics? Like, my genetic makeup just didn't really suit me to the category. Like, I could put on as much tissue as I wanted. I'm just never going to have, I can stand next to someone who's just genetically more made for the category. Just the way their insertions are, bellows to the glutes, the way their tie-in is, bellows to the quads, never going to have that bubble. And that's just a genetic thing. Like, you can train as much as you want for any category. Genetics, if somebody trains as equally as much as you and works as hard as you, will beat you. And that's fine. Like, I'm okay with that. But in wellness, like, it just really would hold me back massively. I might be able to get my pro card at the right show, but as soon as I go into the pro ranks, am I really going to be competitive? Probably not, standing next to all these girls that really fit the category better than me. I'm just too long in the muscle bellies, like, just a little bit, I'm not going to use the word stringy, like, I'm 60 kilos lean, like, I'm not stringy, but I'm long through the muscle bellies, through the legs, like, I don't have this like short, dense, like vastus lat hang. Do you know what I mean? I don't get that. So yeah, that's kind of where we were with wellness, and we've been toying with it for ages. With figure, I kept post-workout doing my posing and then hitting my figure poses, and I worked with Cal, and Cal's like, yeah, these are fucking savage. Like, I feel like this is probably what we need to be doing.
Yeah.
Potentially, even if I went pro as a wellness athlete, probably that would be the conversation as a pro transition, probably. Yeah. So we just ran it at a couple of these shows. We ran it, like, I was in Norway. No one knew I was going to do it. And I just ran it, just did it. Did the wellness class first. And then I was like, right, put on the figure suit and do it. And everyone was like, what the fuck? But it suited me better. And I loved it, you know?
So
I actually really loved it.
You felt
I feel
more
like at home.
like, yeah.
Yeah, straight away.
I remember sending it to Jake and being like, yes, I'm buzzing about this. Like, you just looked class. Like, you looked like you'd just been doing it or like the whole time, you know, like that, like the power pose and everything. Like, you've got your delts, your rear delts. Like, it's just, I think, class, like a class move.
Love that. Thanks, mate. Yeah, I feel good about it. First, I trained upper body once a week for the last 18 months. So it's like, that clearly responds, you know what I mean? And I train like 5 times a week, 4 times a week, and still pretty balanced. So it's like, if we put all the concentration there, it's probably going to be quite a good fucking stint of growing. So yeah, that's pretty much what we've done, and I'm enjoying it. Like, I love training upper body. I look forward to my upper body day every week, so it makes sense. So I'm excited, you know, excited for the future. One thing I did sort of decide on, because we could have continued to run at shows, is, see, like a condition set point, like I can get absolutely inside out peeled, but this year we didn't hold me back, but we really concentrated on, like, the wellness look is different than the figure look, right? In terms of condition, like, it's still conditioned, but like, I had striated glutes but we filled them out hard because you don't want that as a figure, as a wellness girl. So like when I was then rolling in this figure, especially on the same day, I was peaked like a fit wellness girl, jumping into the figure category. I was fucking full as a house. And then like the following week I did Austria. Realistically, if I was running that in Austria, like we probably wanted a little bit more condition. 3 to 4 weeks between shows probably would have been better just to pull me back down and flatten me off and peak me differently. So we could have continued running at shows, but I said like I don't really want to. I'm going to go away and grow and do the category some justice and enjoy it and come back like actually competitive. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't want to be pipped by someone who's got a better upper body than me because I've actually fucking focused on it for 2 years. But I'm going to come back and want to be good, right? I want to be able to turn pro and stand in a pro lineup and look decent. So
yeah,
the inevitabilities, I'm going to have to go away and grow anyway. So I was like, call the season there. We know what we want to do. We know what I want to do. Like we've kind of like got what we needed out the season. So let's just go into a growth phase. But I'm actually like really buzzing. Like I'm buzzing. It's all novel in it. Like I'm buzzing in the gym each day. Like I feel good. I wake up in the morning, I'm looking in the mirror and I'm like, I look fucking wham, mate. Like, so
that Del pump.
literally, it's permanent at the moment. Just wake up and I'm like, swole. That's good. No, I'm enjoying it. You don't want to hear that, Scarlett, because you're in the depths of prep. Sorry.
No,
Almost there. Almost there.
I just
You
honestly,
got
I
3
just
weeks.
Yeah,
I know.
3 weeks.
I know.
3 weeks, mate.
I'm just loving them that Stairmaster. It's like my best friend now.
Besties.
I know.
Have you changed your training now since the show to kind of be more aimed at figure, or has that happened yet?
Yeah, like straight away. So because we spoke about doing it like 2-3 weeks before the shows, we actually started to alter my training in the lead up to the shows. So we put in another upper body session and almost trained like everything, fairly balanced. Pull sessions, did like glutes and delts, then did like a push session, and then had like 2 other leg days. So tried to really bring in some more balance so that I was actually driving some fullness through to the upper body, so that obviously when I'm standing on stage there, like there's something there. And then since the show, I've literally gone from training legs 4 times a week to like 5 sets on quads a week. So I've got like 1 leg day now. That is literally it, 1 leg day. Obviously my legs are strong. Yeah, like they still need to be more developed. Obviously, like there's going to be no issue with having bigger quads still in figure, but these girls have got amazing detail and amazing size to their legs. I still need that, but not the detriment of the upper body. Like that needs to catch up. Like it needs to start to overtake again. So just one day a week on legs. I've got like 2 compound movements. I've got a squat and I've got a leg press. I've got like 2 sets on squat, 1 set on leg press. I've got like 3 sets on a leg extension, a couple of sets on hamstring curl. I think that's really it. Calves and adductors. Like it's a bit of an all over leg day. And then I've got like hamstring work in my pull day, because out of everything on my legs, my hamstrings are probably the weakest thing. My glutes are really strong now, obviously, because I've just fucking trained. I've just trained like a wellness girl for a year, so my glutes are fucking great. So that's good. At least they're not weak. So I've just got additional hamstring and a pull from the floor on one of my pull days. So yeah, like I mean that's going to work like lower back and erectors as well anyway, that pull from the floor. So it's just all over that posterior density. But direct quad work is like 5 sets a week now. That's literally it.
Jesus.
See, I just don't think you just can't beat training quads though. Like when you have a proper savage quad day.
Yeah, you feel nasty.
But I feel like more motivated for it now because it's once a week, and I'm like, right, I've got 1 opportunity a week to like send it on legs. Whereas like as a wellness girl, and you gotta love it. Like I love the category so much. Like I won't say that I don't, because I do. I love the look. I love the off-season look. I love the visuals of it. I think it's such a nice look.
Yeah.
But you have to train legs 4 times a week, right? And not that it's not enjoyable, but too much of anything, I think, just gets you a bit fucking bored sometimes. So I was like, yeah, I like the idea of this new challenge because I can just lay off the legs a little bit. Whereas like every day I'd be getting up, and maybe it was a prep thing in the end as well. I was like, oh, like the worst thing to train on prep is legs, right? Fucking, you got to really find it. Every day I was like, well, like day again.
What was your leg day like? What would your leg day look like for wellness, just out of interest?
Yeah, like with the 4, were they very much.
Yeah. So my split was legs, upper, legs, rest, legs, and then the next day was like glutes and delts. So it's still legs, but it just wasn't as like a compound day. So like my Monday would be a compound day, and it might be like more quad focused, but it'd be like a no, I think Monday was like my glute day, actually, my glute leg day. If I'm trying to remember what my split was. And I'd always have to look at my logbook every time, so I would never remember my split. Everyone would be like, how do you not know your session? I'm like, because they all look the fucking same, because I do it every single day. So literally, so Monday would be like adductors, and then I had like a pull from the floor, like an SLDL or an RDL or something like that. Then hamstring work, then split squats, hip thrusts, and 45 degree hypers, I think, then calves. So just like glutes. And then upper day was like very, very mixed. There was like a bit of push, bit of pull, delts, arms, like it was a bit of everything. My next leg day was my squat day. So I started off with hamstring curl, then I had squats, 2 sets on squats. Then I had split squats again, but a different variation. Then I had hip thrusts again. I was on the glute drive 3 times a week. So I had hip thrusts again.
Would expect
Legit,
nothing
mate.
less.
Legit, mate, legit. And then I had single leg RDLs after that. And then I had, I can't remember. I feel like I had like paused 45 degree hypers or something. And then on my Friday session was my leg press day. So I had leg extension, leg press, 3 sets, fucking savage. And then I had, I can't even remember what followed that. It was more quad based that day. It was fucking awful anyway. More adductors, more variation of the same stuff, really. So that was fun. I think I had dumbbell RDLs on that day as well, like paused higher rep sets. So that's good. And then on my Saturday was like just glutes, like kickback work, hypers, less compound stuff. I think I had dumbbell RDLs in it again, but like just a heavy set at the beginning, and then it was all just like fluffy work. Yeah, and then delt work. So yeah, pretty savage. Like there were always a rest day between like the compound stuff. So it was like legs off, pretty much, apart from those 2 days at the end of the week. But yeah, it was quite intense.
Intense. Yeah, for sure. When are
So
you how long are you planning on taking off for the off season? Like when's next prep? Do you have any shows in mind?
Great question. I don't really know. I've said that I want to do it justice, right? I don't want to take like a 6 months off season, then do a 6-month prep and stand on stage at the same time. I don't think. I mean, I feel like I'm pretty responsive, but I want to like turn up and be fucking good, right?
Yeah.
And I'm really happy to take a year off. Like when I always go off, and you might have this with clients and yourselves, like the psychological need to prep. And I think you need to reach a point in your off season where you're like, I'm so ready to do a fucking prep, or like be in an off season long enough where you're like a little bit uncomfortable, a little bit sick of growing and eating and doing the same thing, and being like, I need that. Like I need it psychologically now. This year I wasn't really there, but I'm such a robot, I can do anything. So Carl was like, we're going to start prep now. So I was like, all right, start prep, like whatever. Like, because I just do it. But I could have quite happily just continued my off season quite easily. Now it was a blessing that I did prep, because obviously we've changed category. If I grew for wellness for another year, I would have been fucking pissed off next year. But I think, do you know what I mean? So there's a blessing there, but I want to be good. I want to be a pro. I want to be a competitive pro. And I'm more than happy, like if I'm going to turn pro anyway, like I'm not in a rush to do it if I'm going to have to go away and grow to be able to be a pro. Like the difference between growing for 6 months, prepping for 6 months, then growing for 6 months and prepping for 6 months isn't the same as growing for a year and then prepping for 6 months in terms of muscle tissue build, in my opinion. And I think that if I can grow, like we're nearly the end of the year now anyway, it's the end of September, like I'm 3 weeks into my off season. I'm quite happy to do this until the back end of next year. Probably do like a little pre-prep thing before Christmas and prep at the beginning of 2025. Like I'm really happy to do that. And now I don't know what Carl's plans are for me, but we've only got the next 2 months mapped out, so fuck knows. But I think we'll just see how we go. If I get to next summer and we're like, we're jacked and we're 80 kilos, like, and you're going to look ridiculous, like, and then we may just prep. But I'm also really, really keen to have the time off to just live a little bit more life. And I don't know how you two are like with this, but over the last 18 months, it's just been bodybuilding, which is great. And I am a robot. But like Corey has been in prep and I've been in prep, and we've been opposite. So I was in prep and he wasn't. And then I finished prep and was on the reverse. And then he started prep. And then he finished prep and I was on prep. And now I'm just finishing prep. He's on a mini cut. And like, fuck's sake, waiting for him to finish his little mini cut. And then we'll be in an off season together for the first time in like nearly 2 years. So we've pledged that apart from little mini cuts which are necessary, that our phases will map up and line up together now over the next year, because it's fine, like we're fine, we can do whatever, like we're bodybuilders, but your relationships as well do take a hit. Like I haven't spent as much time with my family this year. My mum had a big anniversary due a few weeks ago and I was in fucking Norway on stage. Like I wasn't there. So like I want to spend the next year. Also, I've got some amazing clients that next year will be doing international shows, traveling, and I want to just be with them. I want to take them to a show and then I want to take them for sushi afterwards. And I want to eat the fucking sushi. Like, and I want to just be a part of it. I want to be able to get on a flight and not worry about having to do my cardio, because I don't have cardio to do. I can hit my macros anywhere. But I want to be able to just have next year as just all about my girls as well. It's really important to me. So I'm happy to leave it. And it's not going to be a detriment, is it? I'll just grow more. So it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I think you're so right. Like what you said about you don't want to turn pro and then have to take 2 or 3 years off because you've that much size to put on. And I think that's probably something people need to take more note of when they are going for pro cards. Because you can win it at the right show, right? Like, you know, you can get lucky, but then you're going to go into a pro lineup and just not even be looked at, you know, if you haven't brought your physique up there. So I think that's definitely one to take a note
I
of.
completely agree with that. And I think, you know, people can be like, yeah, I got my pro card. I take zero notice because it means fuck all. Like, unless you've gone to an absolutely unreal stack show, stood against 40 people and been absolutely lights out, if you are that person, you'll probably be a competitive pro, right?
Yeah.
Because you're that good. Okay. If you go to a show and there's 4 or 5 people there and you scrape your pro card, like, you might be good and it was just the coincidence that was the show. And this is for me in wellness, like the right show, I could have won that. Fine. Am I going to be a good pro? No, I don't think so. And I'm realistic. So what's the point? And so many people win a pro card and then do nothing with it because of that exact reason. So I 100% think like I want to be a good pro because I want to do this long term. I love this sport. And I'm going to do the category where I feel like I would be a good pro. So I'll wait to turn pro until I'm actually pro worthy and like I can stand with the pros and do well. 100%. Otherwise, what's the point?
I feel like there is like a big jump as well between like amateur level and then the pro ranks as well. Like obviously, like you see people who do turn pro and they are jacked, but then you put them on a stage with the pros and they look tiny, like in terms of like density and like muscle maturity and stuff like that. So I think if you can like just be undeniably already a pro technically, then you've got that, you just walk straight in, don't you? And because I think mentally that would be quite tough, because obviously like when you turn pro, you're like you've reached that peak, but then as soon as you go into the pro league, you're like back at the bottom of the pile and you're like, fuck. Now I've got to
100%.
do all this work.
Yeah, 100% agree with that. 100% agree with that. I think it's a little bit like ego battering, isn't it? Like you're like, yeah, this is amazing. I look amazing. Like top it. I've won my pro card, and then you go into a pro show and you come bottom of the pile, and you're like, do I really fit here? Or, yeah. And it's like reality is you've just done a long prep. You're probably gonna have to go into an off season anyway. So like, just go into your off season and come back. Like you'll feel better for it as well because it'll be a fresh season. Ride the high and. Yeah. I think so. Unless you're like super genetic, like the girl that I stood next to at Triathlete Winter, she's amazing. like won a pro
Oh,
card and
she
then
won the
stood in the
pro card.
pro lineup and won the pro show and going to the Olympia.
Control.
And she's like the top 1%. She's incredible.
Yeah.
She's top 1%. Like there's work ethic, everyone can work hard, but you got to have the genetics as well. And she's amazing. So like hats off to her. But there's very few people that can do that.
Yeah.
Few and far between. It does happen, but like few
So
and far
I
between.
actually used to powerlift when I first started powerlifting. I think Winter was like, she must have been about 16, 17, like, and she was like top powerlifter in the GPC. Like everyone was like, who is this girl? She's strong as fuck, like taking squat records and all this. And then she just disappeared like from powerlifting. And then I remember watching her last year go on stage. I was like, no way. Like it was mad. But yeah, like she's just one of them people who just can just do it, like, you know, really strong.
She's just strong as fuck. Yeah, she's strong as fuck. And then like just grows, like looks at a fucking squat rack and grows.
Looks at it. Like you look at a glute drive and go the opposite direction. They're like, nah.
Like I'm not doing that today. Inverted.
In it. I go flat at the thought of it. No, thank you.
When you mentioned like obviously your partner competes as well, and like the back-to-back reps and the quality time, like that was the same situation as my partner. He had done his prep season B last year, and then we finished. I came back to Australia. I went straight on to prep, and it was a year of no date nights, like nothing. And that's really fucking difficult. So I do think doing the kind of similar phases and like mapping them out that way is really important. But how do you guys manage? Like, is there anything you kind of put in place? Is it just kind of communication, or is there any kind of anything special you'd recommend people to do?
Yeah, I think as I think it's different if you are like a bodybuilding couple or if you're a bodybuilder with a non-bodybuilder. And I think equally is difficult. And I think people say to us all the time, oh, but you do this together, so it's really easy. Like, no, it's not really, because actually we shoot ourselves in the foot because we've done opposite seasons. Whereas if your partner doesn't bodybuild, then they can sort of be patient for 16 to 20 weeks and support you, and you can buy them the odd present, say thanks, and then you can start going out for dinners again. Whereas with us, it's not been like that. I think because we understand it and we understand the purpose of it, then it's actually been okay. But one thing that I would say is you can do a lot other than go out for dinner. Like we have a rest day on a Thursday and a Sunday. So we'll try, and the time where we would be in the gym, for example, on those days, we try and take that as time to try and do something different. Like here, there's not a lot to do that doesn't necessarily involve eating, maybe. And we've been in the summer in Dubai, which is like, you ain't going to line on the beach, mate. It is like, you can't, it's so, if people like, oh, it can't be that hot. Like, no, like it's like standing in a sauna. Like, how long do you bear a sauna for? 10 minutes?
You're in the desert.
Yeah, it's like that turned up. Like, it's ridiculous. So you're not going to go on the beach and lie in the sun in the middle of the day. But what you can do is just like, you can go for coffee and just put your phone down and spend some time with each other. You can go cinema, you can do things, and we will try and do that. The only thing since we've been here, my last 8 to 10 weeks of prep since we've been in Dubai, is like it been so busy with going back and abroad for clients. So we haven't really had that much downtime together. But that's what like we generally will do. It'll just be like go to a coffee shop and sit and have a coffee together. Use that time where we'll be in the gym to do something a little bit different. And sometimes it requires a little bit of effort, like thinking about, but sometimes it's just like saying, right, we've got 2 hours here, like just put your shoes on, let's just go out and just try and just spend some time together that's not food related. That's just what I would say, and just be patient, I think, and also just make commitments to each other. Like I was on prep and just finishing prep, and Corey was supposed to not be prepping until I prepped this year, and he was like in a bit of a mental health hole and was like, oh, I feel like I need to prep. So he like went against what we were going to do and started prep when I finished. So that prolonged the whole thing. And that was fine. I supported him with that. But I think make commitments to your season as well, and how many shows you're going to do, when you're going to call it a day, and when you're going to prep and when you're going to not, just so communication is super clear. So like, and there's expectations. Like I know at the end of like October, we can go on holiday. I know at Christmas we can go away. Like I know what we can do, and I'm looking forward to it because I know what the plan is. Whereas if like you don't and you're a little bit fluid with it, I think that can cause a little bit of problems. So just make like commitments to be like, after I've done these shows, I'm going to call it a day, and then this is what I'm going to do. And communicate it with that, because it is difficult. Whether you do this together or not, you still want to go out for a date and a burger and chips, right? Like you still want to do that.
Yeah, like I was dying on my off season. I had like, oh, you can't go for food with me, and then I was on my prep, and he was like, no one to go for a burger with. And then I finished mine, and he was on a fucking mini cut, and I was like, Jesus, when does it end?
When does it end? And it's because as well, right? When you're in off season, and I was in a position I could have an off-plan meal a week. I didn't have it because what I'm going to do is sit there and eat it while he eats his fucking egg whites. No way, right? So it means
I'd have took myself out. I'd have took myself out.
What it means is you end up, and people don't realize this, you end up having a shit time in off season because you don't. Off season is the time where you reward yourself on prep, and you should be able to like be like, do you know what? I'm going to have some sushi tonight because I've dieted for so long, but you feel like you can't because the other person can't, and you actually have a shit time. And you're like, and then prep comes around again. You resent prep because you were like, in off season, I didn't actually do or have the things I wanted to do. So then you resent your partner for being on a diet. So you're just like, nah, it's not cool. So I think, just lining those things up so you can actually have some time. And that's what I'm looking forward to next year. Like Corey's got 6 kilos to fill his cap, so he's got growing to do. And I think we'll do a lot of traveling, which means we'll be in different locations, which means we'll be able to enjoy them. This year, we've done so much traveling. We've spent loads of time in Texas, been Ohio, been New York, been
amazing.
Blah, blah, blah. Been to every country. We've been to a million countries. And most of them we didn't get to enjoy because it was on prep. The only one we got to enjoy was Austria for a day in Vienna because it was me finishing prep. So we just took a whole day to just chill and like enjoy food or whatever. But like in New York, I was walking around. I was like peak off season. I was fucking fat. And I was like, right, I could eat anything. I'm in New York for fuck's sake, like place to eat. And Corey's like literally living on mince and asparagus. And I'm like, is it rude if I eat that donut from that store while you don't? It probably is really. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's really difficult, right? So I just fucking ate my macros and shut the fuck up. But you just think, it's just a shame.
Under your breath, I fucking hate you.
Yeah, when we went to Texas though, we went out with Luke Miller and his missus and stuff, because we obviously they're so far away, they're good friends of ours, so we went out with them and we literally finished training and went for a Chick-fil-A, and I was like, Corey, like no issue, but like I'm just gonna sit and eat this, like you're choosing to be on prep now, I am not. Like you eat your chicken and asparagus and watch if you want, or sit in the car, I don't care. Like I'm gonna have a Chick-fil-A with Luke and his missus and I'm gonna fucking enjoy it.
Yeah, yes you are.
Was it good? Was it good? Yeah, I heard good things about Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, unbelievable, mate. You don't need
you don't
need to worry about it. You're on prep.
Yeah. I'll just stop asking these questions.
Can you describe the batter on the chicken just for Scarlett?
Thing is, you don't know whether you want the hot one or like the original, so you just get both.
The hot one.
I'd always get both.
I'm here for that.
Get both, mate. Get both. Yeah, unreal, mate. Unreal. You don't need to worry about that, Scarlett. You're in prep and you're shredded, so it's fine.
Yeah. Go back to your egg whites.
I know.
How is your food since prep has ended? Speaking of all of the yummy stuff, like how do you kind of approach or manage your reverse initially? Like, are you quite aggressive? Are you quite reserved, or is it different this time?
Well, like my approach with clients is to be aggressive up to maintenance set point. Like I don't slow reverse someone out of a deficit. I hate that. The only time I ever do that is if I've got a client who is maybe, because I wouldn't prep them like this, but maybe come to me from somebody else, and they've been in a deficit dieting state for a long time.
Yeah.
And they've got anxiety about higher food, right? My girls will be having high days throughout their prep. They know they can eat 350 grams of carbs and they won't get fat. So like their resilience to being like, yeah, put food up, I feel good about it is fine. But I would always put someone straight up to maintenance, because there is zero benefit in not doing that. Someone stays too lean for too long, they feel like shit. What's the purpose? Purpose of a reverse is to get healthy, to feel good, be able to get your training performance back, get health markers in place. So yeah, always like food straight up. And it helps with adherence. If you slowly reverse someone, like, people are just going to pick at stuff because the goal's gone. It's just a reality.
Yeah, they're doing it. They're doing it.
100%, right? Get food up, food straight up as to a good maintenance set point, maybe low surplus, just so we're seeing a nice trickle of weight. Like, first couple of weeks, I'm expecting a couple of kilos, and then probably start to like simmer out, and maybe you're looking at half a kilo a week or something, start to simmer down as you sort of approach the 5-6 kilos above stage weight mark. That's where I'm at with clients. With myself, like, exactly the same. Like, we've come out the starting gates here, like, my training day food is 400 grams of carbs, rest days 300 grams of carbs, 80 grams of fat rest day, 60 grams of fat training day, like, respectively. So like food's in a good place. Like, best part 3,000 calories, that is on a training day, 2.6, 2.7 or something on a rest day. So like, it's good, it's high. Yeah, mate. Literally just flying.
I don't even want to know what mine are.
Don't look, probably 800 calories on a rest day. That's where it goes.
It was probably less, yeah.
Yeah, probably less. But yeah, so it's good. I think it's the way to do it, to be honest. You want to get excited about training, you want to feel good in the gym, you want to just get health markers up. Don't be worried about putting on a few kilos, but being sensible with it. Obviously, we don't want to be 10 kilos up in a week. Like, I'm nearly 3 weeks post show and about sitting between 4.5, 5 kilos up from stage. The first week my weight was like all over the place. I think my body was like, is this a refeed? Am I dropping weight, or is this my macros now? Like, what's going on? So I had like a week of stability, and then it's sort of like just slowly escalated. Over the last week, with all this traveling and lack of sleep, it's been all over. It's been like up a kilo, down a kilo, up a kilo, down a kilo. Just with fatigue, it's been all over. But yeah, like, my approach is just get food in, like, get it in, get your client feeling good, like, get healthy. Like, you don't need to sit at that low body set point. It's not good. And just give people some like mental break, Yeah. I mean, I guess you the same.
Yeah. I prefer like a big increase at the start and then kind of a more gradual one. But yeah, fuck feeling like a zombie for any longer than you absolutely have to.
100%. But this is the experience of the coach, right? Because from experience of clients coming to me and speaking to people and seeing how other people do reverses, I genuinely think it's down to pure confidence or lack of with a coach with how aggressive they are at the starting gates. Like, I know what people can tolerate. I know what maintenance food is. Like, I know that you at that lean set point, I could give you 300 grams of carbs a day and you probably won't fucking move. Like, I know that. And from working with people, like, you can see from people's body composition, you can see how low they need to go on prep. You can understand how much food they can tolerate. And when people are slow with incremental increases, I think they're just nervous for their clients to maybe like put on fat or to actually allow the scale weight to rise. Like, they get nervous about it, and that just comes with experience. But you got to do what's right for them in that scenario, and that is definitely getting people healthy. And it's more mental. I think that most of the post-show scenario is more of a mental management thing than a physical management thing of someone's body. That's what I feel with clients. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, because I always thought that, like, I just genuinely like couldn't have high carbs because, like, previously, like before obviously I started working with Jake, I never had my carbs really that high, like, and I did put on a lot of body fat like really quickly. So I was like, maybe I just can't have high carbs. But like during this prep, like, I've had ridiculously high carb days for me and dropped body weight. Like, so it's like, it's nothing to do with the carbs. I think it's just the kind of the approach that I've had previously. I don't know, like,
yeah, maybe. And like, I would say that as well, like, there's an element of, I mean, we could go really deep here of like how your body responds with things due to its efficiency as you as a person as well. Like, what are your hormones like? What's your thyroid like? Like, all this sort of stuff. Like, if you're in an off season, you can't tolerate. I've had a girl come to me last week, like, she's in peak off season, 20 kilos above stage weight. She can only tolerate like 1,900 calories, 200 grams of carbs. I'm like, mate, there's something fucking wrong here. there's something wrong here. Like, we need your bloods doing, like, thyroid don't sound amazing. You probably got no testosterone. Like, are you running any contraception? Like, what? Like, we need to look at all these things, because what you want is someone super efficient, right? You want an efficient human before you can even worry about like why they're not managing their carbs so well. Like, that is usually part of the issue. Like, we've fixed some of her things now, and already like she's eating more than she has in absolutely months, and weight's not moving, like, which is great. But I think, yeah, everyone is different as well. Like, everyone is different. Some people's metabolic rate is absolutely crazy high. Well, I got a client, a figure girl, Robin. Wow, in an off season, I can't get weight on her. Like, she'll eat 800 grams of carbs a day.
What?
She's eating 100 to 150 grams of raw weight in her food, depending on what it is, whether that's rice, cream rice, pre-workout, whatever. And then on top of that, having like a banana and a muffin. Like, that's the sort of food she's eating. And like, weight holds. Like, it's crazy. She preps on loads of food and does no cardio. She's just like genetically like just an absolute machine. But then you're at a negative place where in an off season she's struggling to build muscle because her metabolic rate is so high and she's having to eat so much, and I'm having to try and stop her from moving to not burn any calories. And like, it's hard for her to gain weight, right? It's hard for her to actually build muscle. The only time I can actually get her weight to move is during like her assisted phases in the off season. It's the only time I can actually really retain some tissue on her. Really difficult.
Crazy. That's crazy.
So that's good. At least you don't have like a stuffy, horrible off season. Even though it's something that you dream of, even though there's nothing worse than being hungry in an off season. That's shit.
Oh God, no, Jesus. No.
So no. What phase are you in at the moment, babe? Obviously, Scarlett is deep in prep hold.
You don't see my cheeks. Yeah, I am. When did I do my show? The end of April, so May, June, July, August, September. Oh, Jesus, what, my 4 or 5 months post show?
Yeah.
And yeah, officially back up to 83, which I was at the start of prep. So that's all come back on. But do you know what? This week was actually
Body
the first week
composition though looks better.
yeah, like I mean, it is better for sure. And I think today was the only time after I did my check-in photos, I was like a bit, oh, I look a bit puffy. Like, you know, when you just look like swollen or something. So fine, we're doing a mini cut for October anyway, so that's fine. I'm not in my head about it, but yeah, just gotta grow, man.
Yeah, same, mate, same. Time to get
the eternal quest. We ask everybody, but I have an idea what you're gonna say. We ask everybody who comes on what their death row meal is. Like, what is your ultimate off-plan meal like you need on your deathbed? What is it? Starters, mains, dessert? You can go as much as you want.
Much as I want. Fucking hell. Do you know what? And this is probably, I don't know if this is probably because I was craving it the whole prep and I've still not fucking eaten it. But I really want, like, I love like loaded like chips and stuff, right? I'm a fiend for chips and potato. All I really want is like to go somewhere like a fried chicken place, and I want like loaded fried chicken chips. And then for dessert, what I want is like, you know, like, I don't know if you will have this, like fried chicken and waffles with maple syrup. That's like all I want. I just want fried chicken, waffles, maple syrup, and I just want like loaded chips. Yeah. Like something in me, it's just all I want to eat, and I've still not had it. So I'm like, if I could eat anything tomorrow and I could eat as much of it as I want, that is what I want. That is 100% what I want.
Yeah,
that is it.
That's what I did post show. I went to a chicken and waffle place and got loaded chicken, and blew my mind.
It's just something that I just look at and I'm like, that is like a god food. Like, that is a god food. Me and Corey always get sushi because we just love it. Like, we'll go and we'll eat sushi, and that's great. But like, nah, I'm proper feeling like loaded chicken, waffles, fries, whatever. I could just eat fucking chips all day, to be honest.
Yeah, I love chips.
Chips, mate. Literally, we got back to Dubai yesterday. Honestly, we got back to Dubai yesterday, and I because we've been back in the UK, like been at shows, visiting my parents and stuff. Like, I've just craved potato. I've not been having it because when you're on the travels, like white potato is really not ideal thing to be having. We've got the air fryer here. Yesterday, first thing I did when I came back, I was like, my next meal is chips. I'm having chips. So I just 400 grams of potato in the air fryer. I was like, all my macros going on potato. That was literally all I wanted.
No better way to spend your carb target than potato.
Literally, innit?
You get so much
So,
bang for your
yeah.
buck with him.
So
Do you
much
know
bang for
what?
your
In
buck.
Australia, they actually have low carb potatoes called Spud Light. So when you're dieting on prep, they're really low calorie potatoes. Yeah, it's crazy.
How do
What
you
are
have
they?
Mad
low
They
calorie
must
variation
not
that
be.
grows in
potato?
the sun. I don't know. Yeah,
They must not be potato. There must be
yeah, I
something
know.
else.
I'm a bit skeptical, but I absolutely ate them.
100% I would be eating them. I would be
Yeah.
eating them.
Like
It's
a
like egg
powder
whites, isn't
smash.
it? So much volume. So much volume of egg whites for like no calories.
Yeah,
Just got a
I'd
little
literally have like a big omelette, like egg white omelette, loads of veg, chicken and all, and then like 200 grams of the like low carb potatoes, like 120 calories or some shit. And I'm like, oh, yum.
How is that even possible?
That's what I say to
That's
clients. Like,
like
if you don't like egg whites, just learn to like them, because you can have them sweet and you can have them savory. Like, you
Oh
know what I
yeah,
mean? You can
maple
get
syrup. Yeah,
creative with it, man.
get
Just
creative. You
just
don't like
learn to
egg
love
whites? Like,
it.
well, if you don't like them, just learn to like them. I think
Yeah,
there isn't really an option. There is no
yeah,
option. Just eat. Your calories are this low. There is no. You just give them such low macros that there is no other option other than egg whites. Like, all you can
yeah.
eat now, I'm afraid, is egg whites.
That's
Hey,
basically me. But I actually really like them, so it's fine.
yeah,
I don't mind.
yeah. I
I'm
think
gonna
they're
I'm gonna go
it's
and
fine,
have some in a
it's fine.
second. So
And on that note, guys, we are going to wrap up this week's episode. Thank you so much for listening and tuning in. Mad, thank you for coming on and joining us. Do you want to
welcome.
tell everybody where to find you, how to work with you, all of those
Yeah, of
things?
course. Well, thank you for having me. I love a podcast. I love a chat. So thank you. And if anyone does want to ask me any questions, you can find me on Instagram at mads.raw or at raw.coaching. So Raw Coaching is my coaching brand if you've got any questions. So yeah, drop us a message. But thank you for having me. Lovely for a chat.
no, it's been great.
Amazing. Bye, guys.